All right, so I get people from time to time asking me how I record my podcast. And I tell them it's simple. I do it on my phone, and I have a plug-in speaker. All I need is a quiet space and my phone. And it's free. They have all kinds of tools to help you do it, to edit, to cut, to ad-lib, whatever it is that you want. And once it's ready and you upload, Anchor has you all set up where you post it or upload the audio once or the episode, and it'll distribute it across other platforms like Spotify or podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And I mean, it does it all for you, which is pretty neat because sitting there trying to upload stuff forever takes forever. And you can make some money. So there's sponsorships, no minimum listenership. I mean, it's pretty darn easy. It's everything you need to make a podcast in your pocket. So go download the free Anchor app and go hit anchor.fm and get your podcast started.
Running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running. Hey, running, I KB experiment.
What's up, guys? It's King Borris, the KB Experiment. Thanks for joining us yet again. You know how much I love you guys. I'm sitting here at Memorial City Mall in Houston in this nice big old lobby in front of this big ass fireplace. And I got someone in the house, face to face, not that COVID Zoom shit. Robert from McDojo Life.
What up, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man. Well, right now he's traveling. I'm looking at him. He's driving from Florida to California. So that's a bit of a drive. And I'm midway, kind of.
No, I'm not quite midway, but, funny enough, I still have, I think, another week and a half worth of traveling.
Oh.
So,
yeah, but you have stops.
Yeah.
It's not like...
Even today, our Houston, even this stop, right? I was here for 2 days.
Yeah.
Normally, most of my stops is just going to be one day. So, tomorrow I go to Austin, and then I keep going down the road as I go. But the real hard trip is going to be from Austin, and I think it's from Austin to Albuquerque or Austin to Phoenix. And it's like a 12-hour drive. Okay. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did a 30-hour drive from Jersey to Houston when I moved here.
Yeah.
I was delirious. I was lost. I didn't know what was going on. It was a good ride, though. I got a brand new U-Haul truck with 1,000 miles on it, right? I went and I bought all these accessories to charge my phone, the aux plugs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I got in the truck, it had all of it already. I'm like...
Oh, ouch.
So, yeah, it was brand new tires. I mean, it couldn't have gotten any easier. Here's a brand new truck so you can take across the country. But, that drive was midnight. I'm driving in the middle of nowhere. It's dark. I'm like, what the hell's going on? It starts raining. I'm just you start getting this tunnel vision.
Yeah, man.
And no one's on the road. And so it was me and my sister. This is a funny story. Me and my sister driving all the way down. It's I think it was midnight. And I was like, I can't take this anymore. I got to pull over. So we found a Hotel 3, not even a Hotel 6. It was ghetto as shit, but in the country. So we come off the road. We get into this hotel. There's no one there. Just one car in the lot. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. It's thundering outside. It's raining. I run inside. I'm like, hey, we need a room for the night. And the lady's like, okay. I was like, how much is it? It's $50. I gave her $100. Oh, we don't have change for $100. I'm like, can I give you my card? Oh, yeah, we don't do cards. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, fine. I don't know. I gave her money. So I get in the room. The lock doesn't work. There's fucking mold in the bathroom. It smells like I don't know, if meth, death, and fucking hookers in this room, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, no, you gotta be fucking kidding me. My sister's clueless, so she's over here in her pajamas la la la, and I'm thinking, yeah, we're gonna die. She's calling people over. This guy pulled out $1,000 in hundreds. We're fucked. So I put the chair under the handle, and I took a picture of the hotel name, and I put it on Facebook. I said, if we're fucking missing tomorrow or ever, this is where we're at. I'm not lying. I couldn't sleep. I laid down about an hour in. I said, Vanessa, we're fucking leaving. I can't do this. And she was like, what? Can I change? I was like, get in the fucking car.
Man, I've been pretty lucky this trip because I've had some pretty nasty hotel experiences before. Like I've had one where like I go and there's like roaches in the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I can tolerate most anything, but I can't tolerate thinking that a roach is gonna crawl on me at night. That's just gross. And so like, luckily on the trip I haven't had to really deal with that a lot. So everybody's been real cool. Like people have been putting me up in their spots.
See, but you kind of planned it. I didn't. I jumped in the truck and left, and I was like, all right. Every time that the tank is halfway full, I'm getting gas. Right? That was That's it. That was the only thing I planned and how to get there. So this hotel scared me so much that when I left, I didn't even tell the lady. I just fucking left. I left the key in the room. I was like, fucking keep the deposit. I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So we're driving. Now it's like 2 a.m. I can't keep my eyes open. I was like, we got to pull over. So I pull over again.
Yeah.
Going down this road, and it's dark. Nothing. It's like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck. All right, we're going to do a U-turn. So do a U-turn in a gas station, and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
No lights. As I'm doing the U-turn and the lights, come across the station, there was a whole row of pickup trucks with people in them, just watching us. No cell phones on, because you can't see. They were literally sitting in the dark, and all I saw was eyeballs just scanning us. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Where am I? I'm like Louisiana somewhere in the middle of nowhere. They're gonna kill us. But we ended up going to like a Best Western.
Okay.
And when I walked in, I was like, Jesus, thank you. So we got to a real hotel. This is a real one. I need sleep. So, it was. I advise everyone to plan your trips accordingly, because if not, you're going to be in the Bates Motel with roaches crawling on you, and you might die. So.
Yeah, I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow I drive to Austin. But it's not that bad. It's like a really easy drive from here.
It's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, so.
And there's a lot of open road, but it's a good open road. So traveling like from here to Dallas, from here to Austin, from here to San Antonio, it may be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, but there's towns in between.
Yeah.
So you have plenty of time to stop, get some food, but technically you should be able to do it in one shot. Jump in the car.
I'm not just worried about that. Tomorrow I go to Austin, so it's only like 2.5, 3 hours. The trip from there to Albuquerque is 12 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm debating on how like even getting a hotel. Because in order for me to be able to go to Albuquerque and do the work that I have to do there, I need to actually get there at a decent hour. Well, since it's a 12-hour drive, that means like I would probably have to leave at midnight if I wanted to be there by noon the next day. So
right,
and that's
if you drive over. Yeah,
that's not including gas, and that's not including if I stop, which I probably won't.
Why not leave early in the morning, like at 4 or 5 a.m.?
Because if I leave at 4 or 5 a.m., that puts me there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I waste an entire day. So when I get there, I basically just go to sleep. Like when I get there, I want to work and get content, as much as I can. So I might not even sleep in Austin. I might just like stay up,
hit the road and running. Yeah. Well, I get it. So right now, let's talk about what you're doing. So you're doing a documentary. You and I did this. This is our third podcast. I think last year, before COVID, you had a lot of this planned already, and you were going to come out, hit the road. You had a whole thing set up, and it kind of got screwed up with everything that's happening now. So now you're back on the road. What is and of course everything's different. So accessibility to people and how you can just kind of be around things is nowhere near what it used to. How's that kind of put a dent in your whole?
Well, we just had to like change some things up, but everything's still pretty much the way that it was in terms of storyline and what we're going to be doing for the documentary. It's just how we do it had to change a little bit. So it only really, all it did was just kind of push us back a year, which when you're doing crowdfunding, like it sucks because there's other people's money that you're spending. It's not your money. Right. So the longer it goes out, you want to have the people who have donated to you have faith in the project. So I did things like, we added a Instagram group just for people who donated. So that way they can keep up to date with what's going on. So that way they don't feel left out. But we also got kicked off of Facebook last year. So it was like a month after our crowdfunding, Facebook kicked us off for like a copyright issue. So we weren't able to convey what was going on necessarily to those people on Facebook. But everyone who's donated has been kept up to date with what's going on with us. So at least they know. And everybody who didn't donate, like, sorry, but you don't get to keep up with what's going on because you didn't pay. Like,
well, what about Patreon?
Like, Patreon's okay. Like, the problem with Patreon is Patreon's app is just kind of hot garbage. So, like, if I can't upload video directly to Patreon, so I have to upload it onto YouTube and then make that a private link and then upload it onto Patreon if I want it to be original content that's only available for them. It's like, but there are other platforms out there now. Like even YouTube itself has created subscription services.
They have a community now.
Yeah.
Right? Where they have like a community section.
Yeah, so you can, like, the community thing is pretty cool because so it kind of acts like a Facebook feed in a way.
Yeah.
But they also have a subscription service. So if you want to subscribe to a YouTube channel, you could do that and get original content that only subscribers have access to. So probably within the next year, I'll probably be off Patreon completely. And
I've seen that a lot. I have a lot of people that I follow, especially in the podcasting world, and I think I actually I don't know if I still donate to yours or not, because I did for a while, but I changed my credit card and but I think I do, because there's only one other company that I donate to on Patreon, and they had to leave Patreon because Patreon had certain restrictions and just the platform wasn't as user friendly with certain things.
Yeah, and there's so many other platforms now that have already looked at that model.
Closer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's another, there are so many other platforms that took that exact same model and been doing so much more successful.
What other platform?
Well, like even just YouTube or Facebook.
Okay.
So
okay.
YouTube and Facebook now have subscriber programs.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And they allow you to be able to have these subscriptions to these programs, which basically acts just like Patreon, because that's all Patreon does is a paywall. So it's like, oh, you want to see the content? You got to pay.
Yeah.
But now all those other programs are like, we could do that. It's only one more step for us, so why not do that?
That makes sense. And I mean, YouTube's obviously an established platform, so a lot of people that are on YouTube, that's their main platform. To switch them over somewhere else it's always a struggle.
Yeah, why not do it yourself and make the residual income off of that? Which they're probably making a hand over fist now, because now content creators are realizing, why do I need to add this extra step of uploading onto YouTube, then upload onto Patreon? Right. I can just upload it onto YouTube. The hard part, though, is when you're making a switch like that, you're always going to lose people. So, like,
right.
Like, hey, guys, you follow us on Patreon, go follow us on YouTube. And then you make the switch, and people are like, yeah, I'm just not going to. And then you lose those followers, you lose that monetization, which sucks. But it's a risk you have to take in order for growth of your business.
So, like, the Facebook group probably you took a hit because you lost a lot of people on Facebook. I mean, granted,
130,000 followers in a blink of an eye.
But let me ask you this: do you know how many people are on both platforms versus just people that are on Facebook that are now lost?
I think most people do both platforms. Like, most content creators spread their stuff out across all the platforms just in case. Like, because platforms have the right to do whatever it is that they want to do. It's their business. So you always are at the whim of what they decide at any given moment. And some platforms, like for instance TikTok will remove your stuff out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like YouTube used to be that way, but now they got so many complaints from content creators who were about to bail that they were running a risk of losing a lot of money. So they started listening to the content creators, and people aren't hit nearly as hard with copyright strikes. They're not hit nearly as hard with community violation strikes and stuff like that. Like back in the day, I was getting hit. Like, I get hit, and then I'd be like, okay, I think I figured out what was wrong. But they never really tell you.
Yeah.
They're like, you violated our policy. Yeah. You violated our policy procedures. All right, cool. Well, that's like
everything.
It's
like
how many? I mean, how many different sections of this? It's a lot. They have a lot of rules. And so, all right, well, which one? And finally, they tell you, okay, well, you violated this particular one. But then you go to that, you click on that, and there's all these like subcategories of violations. You're like, well, if you could be more specific so I know what not to do. And they would just never tell you. And they still don't. So, but at least they do a couple things that I love. One, which is really cool, is they let you monitor your own stuff. So when you upload your own video, you have like the back end, and it says, well, what are you violating in terms of monetization?
Okay, so now it gives you more of a
it's breakdown. Like, oh, well, you tell them what you did. Like, you can tell them up front, and the more honest you are, the less they are taking your stuff down.
Okay.
So, like, if I know I cussed in a video, right? Like, it says moderate,
because they have... So you have to pick if it's kid-friendly or not.
Yeah, the kid-friendly thing's one, but also if you did violate something of their policy procedures, sometimes they're more lenient on certain things than other things. Like, if, for instance, one of the policy procedures, which I break all the time, which is not purposeful, is the violence thing, right? Because it's a martial arts related content. So what is and what is not considered violence through their eyes is like a really narrow line.
Yeah, it's vague.
And so, like, I can say, hey, there is violence in this for the purpose of education,
Right.
and they're cool with that. But back in the day, if there was violence, it got taken down.
Right.
Then you had to state your case. Like, look, it's obviously clearly educational.
Now, do they let you categorize it now? This is a martial arts space, so there is going to be violence.
Yeah, they let you know, like, you can tell them on the back end. Like, it gives you, like, a list. And it's, like,
Okay.
basically, like, their policy procedures. And they say, did you do any of these in your video? And some things they tolerate. So, like, mild cussing. If you just admit that there's mild cussing.
So
in
they
there-
actually cut videos for cursing?
Yeah, if you cuss too
On
much.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Man, I watched some shit that I wouldn't let myself hear. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, because like now you can just tell them on your like for instance, sometimes I'll upload a video knowing damn sure it's not going to get monetized. I know there is no way they're going to let me get paid for what I just posted.
Hey, by the way, to all the platforms that this is going on, I am using curse words and language that you may not agree with. So as a disclaimer, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, like I'm all for freedom of speech and stuff like that, but I do also understand it's their house that I'm occupying.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not the boss, but you're kind of like a subcontractor through
I mean,
them.
technically, they built the platform, right? I mean,
They set the rules, and you don't have to be on their platform. You choose to. The only thing that sucks is like those bigger platforms. They kind of have a little bit more of a monopoly if you truly want to make a living at it. And
Okay,
so,
yeah.
I
mean, they want to be included in it.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
there are other avenues, like BitChute is another one that's awesome. So, like, let's say, for instance, you wanted to say "damn the man," and you no longer, you no longer want to be under the corporate thumb of Facebook or YouTube or whatnot. Then you go, okay, well, what I'm going to do is open up my own website, and then I'll upload all my videos onto a third party, and then I'll take donations or get ads through sponsorships. So you can still make money. It's just you have to do a lot more work.
The YouTube setup is already, I mean, it's big enough and it's easier to work with. I get it.
Yeah,
I mean,
you just got to play by the rules,
I think the more places you put yourself into, the easier it is for your brand, because when somebody Googles you or Yahoo or whatever, you'll pop up in the search engines. You know what I mean? So you can control your reputation that you see out in the world of the internet versus having someone else control it. So a lot of times I'll download the podcast or my content to anything that I can that you can download to. Why? Because it's there, and you're able to be. You're going to show up more. You see what I'm saying?
It's really interesting because like some social media platforms, what blows up on one will be dead in the water on another. So I'll upload something to TikTok and it'll blow up. It'll get like 2-3 million views, and on the other platforms it'll barely reach 10,000. And then on other things I'll post and they'll blow up on every platform but TikTok. It's really strange how those things work. And sometimes it's hashtags, how you use those. Sometimes it's who you tag. Sometimes it's time of the day. There's so many factors. And sometimes it's just blind luck. It's like, oh, so-and-so shared it, so all of a sudden your stuff blows up.
Right.
But I mean, it's every platform operates a little differently. I do like TikTok's thing, which I wish all platforms did. I love this, which is if someone leaves a comment on your TikTok, you could respond with a video.
Oh,
So you don't have to just type.
Yeah.
And so, man, when on my TikTok, I'm about to just start posting more of that because so much of my stuff is allowed on every other platform but their platform. So I'll post it up. It'll be fine everywhere else, but they'll remove it from there. It's like, dude, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah, like, why are you fucking with shit? Like, why wouldn't you just, like... And again, it's the same, almost universal policy procedures when it comes to violence, but, like, they don't allow almost anything involving firearms. They don't allow almost anything involving knives or swords. Like, I posted one thing which was ridiculous. Pat Morita, Mr. Miyagi, right? This dude was like Arnold from Happy Days, right, back in the day, and if anybody is that old. But, like, I loved Happy Days. Like, this dude was awesome. But he's telling this joke as Mr.
Monday,
Miyagi.
Tuesday, Happy Days.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
man. And he's telling a joke, and it's just a joke about, like, and he's got a sword in his hand, and he's talking about cutting a fly in half, and he tells this joke, and it's really, really good, because the dude was a comedian. And that got taken down just because he had a sword in his hand. Not that he was doing anything violent, not that he said any cuss words, not that he said anything violent, just because he had a sword in his hands. And it's like, get the fuck out.
See, it's all algorithm. It's not that somebody's sitting there pulling the shit.
No, they just, like, that's another weird thing about, like, YouTube. Is like it almost like it scans the video looking for certain shapes or images.
Yep.
So like I've had shit removed before for sexually related content
that was
like
banana.
It was jujitsu, homie.
It
like,
was a freaking. It was a certain hole. It was not porn. I swear to God.
Man, that's my OnlyFans account.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about that later. But let's get into the documentary. But I'm going to cut real quick so we can go into these commercials because, you know, that helps pay the bills. So listen to them. Don't scan through them because when you scan through the damn commercial, they know and they don't pay me. And I just need that extra dollar. So we'll hit you up in a bit. Be right back. All right, socialites, we're back. I want you to go back and replay the commercial at least 7 more times so I can get the streaming, payments. But so we're going to get into the continuation here. So me and Rob are just talking about, you've been doing this for what, 28 years you said?
23. Yeah, 23 years.
And the dojo is like a home for you. I mean, you've been in that space for so long that, I mean.
Yeah, since I was 12 years old. Like it's I've been in the school, like in a dojo or in a gym or whatever you want to call it, the more than I've been anywhere else in my life. I've spent more than half my life inside a martial arts studio, either through teaching or training or just hanging out, because it was like, it's where I went, it's how I grew up.
Yes. I mean, and that's like anything else. My main career was in the automotive field, and I've been in the dealer world since like mid-90s, since I was 15. So at the end of the day, I've spent so much time in that space that when I go back to the dealer to work, it's like I'm home, like it's comfortable. And granted, it could be a different dealer, but the atmosphere is the same. So I think that, so you've been doing it so long, and we were talking about recognition, right? After a while that you do something long enough, you should be recognized for your work. Because, I mean, at some point you become a pillar of that space if you want to. Right? You don't have to be. You could be in a dojo all your life and no one will ever know you. But McDojo Life has become a thing. And, I don't, did you think it was going to be this big? Did you think that this was going to happen in this?
No, not at all.
Right.
I just did it as a hobby. Like, it was just, it was weird. It was actually based off a conversation. We may have talked about this before, but it was like based off a conversation with just a student randomly.
I only got like 5 more listeners since then. So, like, new people.
But, it's strange. Like, I'm going throughout my day like any other day, and you have those little turning page moments in your life where you just thought it was going to be fucking Wednesday, and it winds up being like a staple part of something that happened to you. And mine was just a casual conversation with a student. There was this dude, he had only been taking martial arts for like 2 classes. This was a second class. And I was a blue belt at the time in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I was also the program director at the studio that I worked at. And I'm behind the counter, and I get a phone call from my instructor, and he says, "Hey, man, I'm not feeling very well. I need you to take over class today." Not a problem. It happens from time to time. He says, "Hey, just do a couple techniques with everybody, and then let them spar at the end of class." Not a big deal. So we do that. But it's like a noon class, so it's like all the people who either don't work or they get off on lunch, and so there are a lot of these guys have time to just stand around and shoot the shit when we're done.
Right,
so that's what we did. And the conversation of McDojos came up during that chit chat, and that dude who was only like 2 days fresh in martial arts period never knew what a McDojo was. He had never heard the term. And so he was real quiet during the conversation, and then as everybody was leaving and I was getting ready to lock up, he goes, "Hey man, can I ask you a question?" He goes, "It's a little embarrassing, but you guys were talking about McDojos, and we all were already under the impression that we already understood what that was." But he had no clue. He goes, "What is that?" And so I told him what my version of a McDojo is, because everybody feels differently about it. And he goes, "Well, why doesn't anybody do anything about that?" And I was like, that's a good question. I don't know why no one does anything about that. And then, as you start to learn more and more martial arts, you start to realize there's no regulating body. Like, nobody regulates it. It just is what it is. And so that's all I could think about that night. So a couple sentences of a conversation with a gentleman, and that's all I could think about. I was like, why doesn't anybody do anything about that? And I was like, maybe somebody should. And then the next day I started McDojo Life on Facebook, and over the years it's just grown, but it was just a hobby. It was like, look, nobody's doing anything about it, so why not? And then as you start doing it more and more, I guess people expected when I first started doing it that I'd run out of content.
Right. Yeah. I thought the same thing to myself, because I started following you years ago, and I'm just like, at what point do you run out of fucking content? Because you have a massive amount of content, right? You're very consistent on how you post, but I always thought that. But I guess there shouldn't be a decrease in content, because the McDojo topic isn't something that just has gone away. It's still there.
Well, I mean, especially with like what I consider a McDojo. Like,
Right.
I don't consider a McDojo just somebody who got a black belt in 2 years, like a lot of people do. I don't consider a McDojo somebody who's not good at martial
What's
arts.
the definition of McDojo?
I have 5 rules. So I call them 5 rules of what I consider a McDojo. Now, everybody has their own opinions, but this is just what I think is most important that should be addressed first. 1, pedophiles. There are a ridiculous amount of pedophilia in the martial arts industry that people just try to ignore. And as a matter of fact, there are even martial artists who got off on plea deals after molesting children who still own martial arts studios today. David Arnbeck, Warriors Cove.
Yeah, fuck them. Name them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't
So
give
if
a
y'all
fuck.
feel free, if y'all get bored, type in David Arnbeck into Google and feel free to look at that dude's story. He pled guilty to molesting a 15-year-old girl. Because of the plea deal that he took, he was able to get off the hook. He still owns a
That's
martial arts
disgusting.
studio, and he's still around children.
Is
And
he registered?
No, he didn't have to because of the plea
Well,
deal.
he's fucking registered now and more. I mean,
I try to make sure that I said that dude's name as much as possible until the school closes. But that's the thing.
Yeah.
So many people are complaining about who got their belt when, or who sucks at what, or who could beat who up, that they ignore all these big problems.
Yeah.
So that's the first rule is pedophilia.
okay.
The second one is people who lie about their belt rank or fight record.
Okay.
It's like a stolen valor almost. You know, like if you're willing to lie about that and you have students, you'll probably lie about just about anything
Right.
else.
And that's not going to be good for the student because what are you teaching them?
Yeah, exactly. It's some shit you made up, and then they wind up trying it, and it doesn't work. Which leads to the next one, which is like no-touch knockouts are techniques that are mislabeled. And what I mean by mislabeled is I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody going to a cardio kickboxing class and learning cardio kickboxing. That's what they're there for, right?
Yeah.
They're not told that you're going to be the best street fighter in the world. They're told that you're going to learn some kicks and punches, you're going to be moving around, and you're going to be there for the cardiovascular aspect of the class. That's not a problem. Or let's say somebody goes to a class and they want to be a stunt performer, and they learn how to do like all that beautiful acrobatic kicking that we've seen before.
That's a different technique.
That's different. They're not being told that that's for self-defense. And so, but what kills me is when somebody says, "Oh, I can touch you in the arm, and it's going to paralyze you."
Yeah.
Like, well, that's bullshit. And what's going to happen is people are going to believe it. You know?
Yeah. And I'll let you continue. We'll touch on that. But
yeah, but that's a big one, and that happens a lot more than you'd realize with bigger companies.
Well,
So
I'm realizing it more now because of you.
Yeah,
to
big
be honest.
companies do this shit. Like Marie Claire has done this. 5 Minute Crafts, which is a lot bigger than people give it credit for, is a huge company, and they do really, really well. But they put out these BS self-defense instructionals.
Yeah.
You know, Tech Insider, they put out one.
Okay.
Like all of it is just hot garbage. Hot pile
Basura.
of steaming.
Basura that's disgusting and smells in a dumpster. That's okay.
I can't add more articulate words.
With bags of rotten steak and
But yeah,
cheese.
Dude, it's bad. It's bad. And so it irritates me because a lot of people online look at these companies as subject matter experts for what they put out. And they trust the brand that those people built.
Yeah.
And then that brand is turning around and slapping you in the face by not hiring somebody who legitimately knows what they're doing when they could.
Right.
Like Tech Insider, that's a multi-million-dollar
Right.
company.
And
You
the
couldn't
funds
hire a
are-
legit martial arts
Yeah.
instructor. You know, like Tech Insider wasn't the one. Marie Claire is very well known, right? They hired a model, a fitness model, to teach a self-defense course, who openly admitted to not knowing absolutely any martial arts whatsoever.
And you can't be mad at her because she's getting a paycheck.
She's got paid, right? And
I get it.
And I get it, right? She didn't know any better, and she regrets it, and obviously she gets a lot of like hate mail and stuff from that to this day. But she did go out and start learning martial arts.
And you know what?
arts.
I love to add that. Look, sometimes people do things for the paycheck, which is what we do. We go and work, and if we get an opportunity that, hey, somebody's going to pay me a good amount of money, I'm going to do my best, right? So I can't justify people showing or hating on her for her just trying to do a job, especially if she said, look, you know what? Like you said, she's remorseful.
Yeah, she feels bad about it.
So,
Like,
you know,
it's terrible. Like, and I really hope like to get her on the documentary and like talk about that. Like that would be a great opportunity for her to just say,
so.
yo, like we put this out there and like this is the story.
give
like,
you your space. Give her space to tell her story.
Yeah, dude. Like, what happens is people like to jump on people like that and just like ruin their lives over some fucked up. Like, and to me, like, I don't care when I post someone up about anything else they do in their life. They could literally save orphan children on their weekends for all I care. I care about the clip, that 5-second clip You might be great at everything else you do in your life, but we have to admit when bullshit is bullshit. I don't want somebody's life ruined because they made a 5-second mistake.
Yeah.
But I do want to address what is correct and what is not, what will work and what will get someone severely hurt or injured. Because at that point, if somebody's upset that I called, if I call a spade, well, guess what? Why are you mad at that?
Right.
Why are you mad at that? That's
It's
the
defense.
truth. Yeah, it's because of ego. It's like, oh, my feelings are hurt because you called out my instructor. He's a great man for all these reasons. And that's good. That's cool. I don't care about that. All those reasons, he's still a good man. Yeah. But he did make this 5-second mistake that we should take the time to address.
Right.
Because people are listening to them for their health, for safety. What
it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. So if you live your lifestyle on a misconception, misleading information, it doesn't always end good.
And it's a slippery slope when people don't get called out on things like that, because then they wind up being those people who have all the yes men, and then you become like a Steven Seagal, or you become like a
Steven Seagal. Look up on YouTube Steven Seagal running, because if you haven't, oh my God!
My favorite Steven Seagal one is Steven Seagal. It's a John Leguizamo on the Arsenio Hall.
Yes.
Oh,
he smacked him. He said, or something.
Like he hit him in the chest.
Yeah.
What I really wanted to tell him is he runs like a bitch.
Yeah. Yo, look up Steven Seagal running on YouTube. You'll thank me later.
And don't get me wrong, I give Steven Seagal a lot of shit because he's an egotistical fucking woman molesting asshole.
Deserves
right?
it. I mean,
but at the same time, people like to think that they could beat this man's ass. Let me just throw it out there for you. This is a big fucking dude.
Yes,
it's not going to be as easy as you think. But at the same time, somebody maybe his size, height, weight, temperament probably put it on him. But at the same time,
well, you know what? There was a thing where he shit himself.
That was Gene LaBelle. Yeah, Gene LaBelle. I guess that's like a legendary story now.
Look up Steven Seagal shits himself.
Yeah.
I forgot where I heard that, but I cried.
Yeah, man, that's a Ronda Rousey story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it's a legendary story, but Ronda Rousey told it on the Joe Rogan show.
Yes, that's where I heard it.
So fucking funny.
So please look that up.
And Boz Rutan has some amazing stories on that show as well about talking about fake martial artists and things like that.
But he shit himself.
But I think that point that I was trying to make, which is funny about him shitting his pants, but the point I was trying to make about Steven Seagal was just he had so many yes men in his life. It seemed like nobody really called him on his bullshit, and his ego just got the better of him over the years, And it's so sad to see when somebody, I fucking love Under Siege. Under Siege
look,
shit,
I love the movies. I'm not gonna, especially the older ones, because I grew up, we're the same age, and I remember all the Steven Seagal movies.
Dude, Fire Down Below. I like Fire Down Below. I thought that was not bad. I like Under Siege.
That's the sucky thing about the social media thing sometimes, especially getting into the space of podcasting and influencers. You start meeting celebrities, and then you find out they're totally different, and you're like, damn, bro, I fucking loved you in this movie. Now I can't watch it
because you're a big piece of shit.
Or not even. They're just not totally different than what I expected. It ruins the image that they put out there.
Yeah.
Like a Razor Ramon. Hey, Chico. That's how he used to talk, right? From WWE. I don't know if you remember him. He was this big ass wrestler.
Wrestling back in the day.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, Chico," and then when you talk to him, he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" You're like, "What? You're not." My life is. I'm ruined. So yeah. Anyway, did you finish the rules of McDojo Life?
I think we talked about 3.
Yeah,
talked
continue.
about pedophilia, which is a major issue. We talked about lying about your belt ranking, your fight record, no touch knockouts, and mislabeling techniques.
Yeah.
Unsafe training practices and cult-like behavior.
Yes.
So unsafe training practices are still going on today, where I see it all the time, where an instructor will line students up and just tee off on their head, punching them as hard as he can multiple times to condition them. That doesn't condition you. That just gives you CTE. It doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form. Or cult-like behavior goes along with that, because that's also a dangerous precedence about what happens with your life. But with cult-like behavior, it's like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu does this quite often. It's very culty to me, which is they have this term called the creonche.
Okay.
It's a
croissant.
It's creonche. It's actually a name of a actor on a soap opera, and he was this really sleazy, creepy, backstabbing kind of person.
Okay.
And so the term is about martial artists who leave their school and go train at another school. So kind of like a traitor. But the problem is that I think the original intent of that was actually for people who were actual backstabbers, like people who really are
Okay.
like stabbing you in the back. But then it's now become like a more universal term about people who just leave one school and go to another.
Okay.
And it's like, well, I'm paying you for a service, right? And if I don't like that service, I should be able to operate and go to another service without having to worry about being ridiculed, because that's very culty. Like schools that say, yo,
It's
you
ego.
can't go train at another school.
Get
Like, why
butthurt.
not? I'm paying you. Like, that's like me going to a barber and I just like don't go to the barber anymore, and I run into him in the street. He's like, yo, dude, where you been? And I'm like, oh man, I just been around.
I see you got a haircut.
Yeah.
Where you been going?
Yeah. Oh, I see. You're Creonche, huh? You're Creonche? You trader, huh? You go. It's like, dude, like I paid you for a service. If I don't like that service, I should have the right to go to another service.
It's not personal.
Exactly. And so
it's
many
just
people treat it
business.
personally. It's creepy, culty shit to me. Like you can't go train somewhere else. Like, watch me.
Terrible.
Watch me. Like, even if I didn't want to. Like, if I saw a student at a school where I trained and they were told that they couldn't go train somewhere, I'd be like, yo, let's all go.
I'm
going to
send you videos of me on YouTube training there.
Yeah.
With
thumbs
your
up.
shirt on.
Yeah, just high-fiving people. Thumbs up. Like, yeah, man, kiss my ass. I paid you
shit.
money for a service.
Yeah.
You give me the service. And then what happens outside of that facility, as long as, and don't get me wrong, I do think it's fucked up when people misrepresent brands.
That's
Like,
different.
If somebody's wearing, like, let's say your shirt, and they go out and they rob a bank wearing your logo, that's kind of fucked up,
different.
right?
Yeah.
I understand that. Like, look, you got to go. But if they're not doing that and they're just representing themselves as a human being in life to do whatever it is that they feel like they would like to do, as long as it doesn't infringe on your brand and property, then fuck it, man.
And that's just common knowledge. Like, don't disrespect the brand with things that they make you sign job disclosures when you
gotta
work
be careful
somewhere.
with that shit. Like, and even as a student, you should be respectful of your instructor and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, if you as a student are paying money for a service and you want to go train somewhere else sometime, you should have the right to be able to do so.
And I mean, that's variety, right? I mean, you're going from one source to another. Sometimes that's like a form of due diligence. You don't want to just stay in one world because you don't know what's out there.
Yeah, and the shit's, it's like I said, it's creepy, culty shit, But the last rule is just shady business practices, right?
Yeah.
So I actually have a story. My first boxing match ever, right? First boxing match, the referee was like this shady dude, right? And his name was Sean Doyle. And he used to run this academy called 5-Star Martial Arts in Jacksonville, Florida. And so this dude was famous for going to his students' houses who were late on payments and knocking on the door at their homes and strong-arming them for payments. Like, if they didn't pay him, he would actually beat students up who did not pay tuition on time.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Or like, another scam is like gyms do this too, which is really fucked. Is they'll open up.
That's why I don't go to the gym, by the way.
Not specifically.
Yeah, but I boycott that. It's, I'm just saying. But continue.
But yeah, man, like there are people who open up gyms and then they'll collect all this tuition and then they'll close, and you already paid for that next month, but then they hauled ass and they skip town. Or people who hold like. There was one story which was awful. It was really fucking sad. But like, it was some martial arts studio. I don't remember because it's been years. But a family of 5 signed up for a martial arts studio. And the martial arts studio convinced them to sign for a 2-year contract.
Damn.
Well, this was a family of 5 on a 2-year contract. They did a month, 1 month. And then they realized there were some things in the studio that they just did not agree with. So they tried to back out of the contract. Now, on one hand, I do think that you as a human being should read what you sign. And you should be aware of the consequences of signing contracts that you didn't fucking read and you really didn't think through. But at the same time, they only did a month. A fucking month. And you're holding this family of 5. And so they tried to get out. Well, the martial arts studio sued the family. Full up. Took them to court and everything. Damn. And they wind up winning the lawsuit and took them for an assload of money. You're talking 5 people.
It was more, was the lawsuit more than the actual payout?
It was probably the payout. But I mean, they sued him and they got all of it, and it was in full. That's 2 years worth of payments for a family of 5. I mean, it was a lot of money, needless to say. But at the same time, it's where's the ethics? You're teaching honor and integrity, right? But at the same time, you're going to make this family of 5 pay out for something that they didn't receive, which is a service. So I don't think there's anything wrong with contracts. I think that's a good way of keeping track of money, a verbal agreement.
Of course. I mean,
if I pay for it, I can't go on a handshake deal with my car. I'm signing a shitload of paperwork. Or my house. I can't just be like, yo, I'm good for it. The bank's going to be like, sure you are. Now here's 175 pages I'm going to need you to read through and sign.
We need your blood work.
Yeah.
I need to check your shoe
sample,
size.
Semen,
we need to hold some of your hair in this. Just
in this jar. Just put all that in one jar. But yeah, it's weird because people look down upon contracts in the
Yeah,
martial
but
arts
how
world
would, if they asked you for your semen, how would you give it to them?
very carefully.
I'm messy. I'm sorry. It'd be everywhere. I'd be like, that's your problem. You didn't give me a. Why are we talking about this? Hey, continue. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so like when it comes down to like schools and contracts, I have nothing wrong with that. But I also think that we should be a little bit more empathetic towards our student base. And if you're being shady about it, like not telling people that they're going to have to pay for belt testings.
Okay.
Well, if you sign up and I'm aware of that, then that's my decision. But if all of a sudden all these extra fees start getting tacked on, well, that's fucked up. Like you're going to put people in financial detriment. Like you have to have the new uniform to get into the new program, which is going to come up every month.
And that stuff isn't always cheap. So I've heard that where you'll get into a membership, and then they're like, oh yeah, you need to get this, and that. And you're like, wait, that's an extra $1,000. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I didn't, if I would have known that beforehand. Yeah,
you can make a better financial decision about what you want to do.
It's a shady practice.
Yeah, and then so those are my 5 rules. And now I know other people have their own rules. The more standard ones are basically the universal standard from what I've seen is studios that put money above technique. And I think that's really fucked, because what winds up happening with that mentality is a lot of studios who aren't doing very well financially blame studios, call them McDojos, just because they are financially successful.
I see.
And it's like, well, that doesn't help the industry whatsoever. Yeah. It's like you're blaming your problems on another studio because they're successful. Yeah. Like, that's fucked. Now, if their students suck, well, maybe their students suck because they weren't there to learn how to fight. Maybe their students are there because what happens if, like, for instance, cerebral palsy, right? This is I've had a student who had cerebral palsy, and he was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, but he started off as a white belt, and all he wanted to do was learn how to walk. He wanted to fucking walk, right? He was never going to be a world champion fighter. Yeah. And so, like, what I see is a lot of people putting down people like that. Like, no, like, dude, that guy had to overcome so much more than I had to earn his blue belt.
You don't know what he's been through.
Exactly, and it's the same thing with most people, right? What if like, people making fun of, like, fat instructors? Well, I saw one instructor who was, like, a world-class martial artist, one of the best coaches on the planet for striking, but he had, like, an actual...
Steven Seagal's fat.
Well, Steven Seagal likes sandwiches. That's different. But, like, I like sandwiches too, shit. But, sandwiches. Like, this one dude, he had a major car accident, and it really fucked him up. Like, even just walking around was painful. Yeah. So he wasn't able to exercise and do all that other shit. He just had these major medical issues, and weight gain was a part of, like, some of the medicine he was taking. And so, like, people would make fun of that. Oh, he didn't know what he's doing. Like, dude, he physically can't. So, like, I think that empathy is also missing in the martial arts world, where it's like, oh, if you're not 20 years old and can't get into the cage,
they try to hold you up to these unrealistic standards.
Yeah, which is fucked. Like, not everything's a movie, not everything's MMA. And I do believe that if you're going to martial arts for the intent of learning self-defense, that's what you should be taught, right?
Right, there's a difference.
Yeah, but not everybody's going for the same reasons that you're going or I'm going. And that's the important part, is, like, understanding, these people aren't necessarily going because they want to learn how to fucking beat people up. Yeah. They're just going because they love it.
Exercise. They need to move. It's a hobby. It's
exactly.
It's not a career. So I get it. I mean, those are some pretty good rules. And granted that, some people have different ones, but they seem to be basically standard across the whole McDojo platform, I guess.
Yeah, like, so, those are just my rules. And, like, I know a lot of people, I get sent stupid shit all the time. And, like, I try to be polite when people send me dumb shit.
I remember you getting into it with many people that deserved it. Like, you're like, dude, I'm not trying to put you out there, but I'm just going to have to now. And then all of a sudden, can you please take that down? Please, can you remove it?
Oh, yeah, I've made people apologize many a times.
Yeah, I know. I've been on McDojo Life for years, and I've seen so much. Because number one is comical. Some of the shit you put up, oh my god, I watch it over and over again.
People get mad when I do that shit. So, like, check this shit out. You just brought up one that really gets to me. So, like, this one dude threatened to kill me.
Okay. I think I remember this.
He threatened to fucking kill me, right? And then, like, after that, after he said he was going to kill me, he's like, why don't you come up to the dojo and I'll do it with my bare hands?
Oh, man,
and I was like, okay, well, what's the dojo? And he, like, said the dojo. So I looked it up, and he was pretending to be the owner. Well, he's not the fucking owner. He was just a student. And then I looked up his videos, and he's like hot dog
Didn't you put some of his videos out?
Yes, I did. I'll call them out and the studio. Because what I did was what I always do. Because, like we talked about before, brand is important. I don't want to put this guy on blast because it's going to make the studio look bad.
Right.
He's acting on his own accord. But he is representing your school. So what I do is I always hit the studio up first. Hey, just letting you know, one of your students is opening up your dojo
Shit's
for a
about
lawsuit.
to get real, son.
Yeah, for real. That's how that goes. One of your students has basically opened up the door for anybody to come in and fight. like not train, but actually fist fight people. So basically you're running a fight club. And I was like, I thought you should be aware. And they were like, we'll look into it. They looked into it. And so I was like, all right, well, what are your thoughts about that? They were like, you know what? We're not really bothered by it. I was like, okay.
All right.
Screenshot all that shit too.
I tried.
And then I went in on his ass. And then next thing you know, of course, like what inevitably happens is people don't necessarily like schools that are pushing this thug mentality and agenda. Mm-hmm. Like, who can beat up who? Whoop-de-fucking-do. Who cares? And so I put him on blast for his death threats, and I put, like, his school on blast for not giving a fuck about death threats. And then, like, they got flooded. And I got, like, the dude hit me up, like, within an hour of me posting it. In the airport. I'm in an airport, dude. And as I'm in the airport, he calls me apologizing up and down. And I was like, this apology is great. But I go, I don't accept it unless you put this apology out on Instagram.
You gotta make it public, yeah.
Yeah, and so he did. He posted, he's like, I'm so sorry. And then I reshared that. And then he was like, dude, will you please take down the other video? And I was like, I'll take it down. I was like, it took you 24 hours to give me an apology that I asked for politely. Because, like, as soon as he hit me up and he gave me the death threat, I was like, hey, dude, you're going to need to apologize for that. And he was like, nah. He goes, I meant it. And I was like, okay, I guarantee you within a day I'm going to get that apology. And you know what I got? I got an apology verbally on video, and that I was able to. Yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, I didn't want this to go this way. I didn't want it to go this way. But I'm not going to sit here and be worried that there's somebody, because you never know with death threats.
Of course.
Like, maybe he's serious, maybe he's not. But if you're going to be that guy,
it's not serious until it's serious.
Exactly.
And you're dead.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it.
So fuck him. Like, I have no.
I remember this because it dragged out. And
well,
it's
people
like,
got mad at me.
Yes.
They were like, "Why'd you do this to this guy?"
I think I was in your comments defending you.
Yeah. Did you want me to go and beat him up? Was that the better way? Nobody got hurt this way. Nobody got hurt.
So you're leading by example.
I don't think that just going and beating people up is the right way of doing things.
Correct.
And some of the same people is what killed me. Some of the same people that would send messages all the time. Why don't you just go to these studios and beat them up and film it? Like, those are the same people. Like, this is really fucked up for you to do to this guy.
Right? You fucking bastards.
I don't care about that dude. Like, that dude threatened to kill me. This was me being nice. You know?
That's fucking crazy. All right, we're gonna put a break real quick. Hold on. Yo. You got to go to the. There's like a main entrance where it's like past Cheesecake Factory, past Target. There's supposed to be like a valet area, right? But the valet's gone. Yeah, that's where, like, right outside of those doors. But if you parked already, just find your way to the main lobby. Okay. All right. Yeah. No. I'm in the front. Like in the main entrance, and we're literally right inside. So once you walk in, you're gonna see us here, like in the lobby. Yeah. All right. And we're back again. Sorry, I got a phone call, and it was important. So, and it's a podcast. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So now we're traveling the country. You're going to California. You're doing a documentary. You didn't obviously plan for all this. This kind of just happened. So I would say with your years of experience in your field, you're a perfect candidate to do what you're doing because you practice what you preach. You're in a space that you're basically a professional at. I mean, after a certain amount of years that you've continuously done the same kind of work, you know, your opinion does matter. So
weird enough. I still don't know why it does, but it does for some reason.
It does because looking from the outside in, like anything else, you know, I'm in the automotive space, right? So there's certain things that I can teach and tell people, and I know I'm right because I'm in that space. So as I've been management and dealers and stuff, I'll train staff a certain way based on experience, and when shit hits the fan, a lot of times I'm the one who handles it, right? That's why I'm the manager. But I have a certain way of doing it based on all those years of experience. So I'm able to de-escalate. I'm able to address things a certain way from a certain stance that, okay, I get it. I know where this is coming from. I know how to fix it versus just trying to, you know, let my ego get in the way or you know, that kind of stuff. So it's the same thing. You've been in this space for over 20 years, right? So it's not like you're new to it. You know how a dojo atmosphere is. You've lived that life. So when you see what a place that's run ethically versus a place that's not, it's different if you really didn't know shit about nothing and then you're just trying to expose people. You might be doing it the wrong way because guess what? You don't know everything about it. You don't know how it works. But in your case, you do know. You know what shady practices look like. You know what ego looks like, especially in the martial arts world. A sensei beating someone up because he thinks he's teaching him something, you know, you're doing more damage than anything else, because I've seen that. You stand there, I'm going to punch you in the face. Like, really? Like, I mean, some people may actually think that's the way to do it, right?
Well, I think we just don't know what we don't know. So when someone signs up for a martial arts class, they're going in for the first time anyway. When someone signs up for the class, they don't know anything about it, just maybe what they've heard or what they've seen on TV, or maybe...
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they, you know, so it's much easier to manipulate those people into believing complete horseshit because they just don't know. And so they're putting a lot of trust in their instructor, and sometimes the instructors will take advantage of that. Now, I would say probably at this point in the world, I would say the majority, you know, the majority of schools just have good intentions. But a lot of schools have bad habits based on what their instructors taught them. And sometimes things are perpetuated, even if you have the best of intentions. Like, for instance, like if you grew up, and I told you
grown
something,
up yet, but yeah. Okay.
But, you know, if you grew up with a family that told you something that was very culty, you know,
Right.
some of that, and you grew out of it, you'd be like, well, most of that was culty. There still might be some nuggets in there that you
Right.
truly believe. You know, some things just
Subconsciously.
stick. Yeah, and so that's just how you've handled things. That's all you know. Well, it's the same thing with martial artists. Like, they might get away from their cult leader, or they might get away from an instructor, which that's how a lot of martial arts start, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like this guy, so I
Yeah.
start my own, or I want to branch out and start my own school and shit like that, right? But when they decide to do that, some of that other stuff follows them.
Well, yeah, it's an atmosphere where you're teaching, and you may not have been taught right, and that's not always your fault, but I get what you're saying. And that's why I say I can look at you as a professional, and your opinion is valid because of your experience in the space for so long. Because experience is experience, no matter how you look at it. A person that does the same thing over and over for 20 years is going to know more than others that have done it for 2 years. That's just a fact. So if you're doing it from a place of, let's say, respect, honor, merit, like you're not trying to be an asshole, you're not trying to milk the system, you're not trying to be that famous guy. No, you're literally trying to have your community, which is the martial arts, operate in a way that is as ethical as possible for everyone else, because if it doesn't, it's a disservice to them. And you have enough knowledge that you could at least say, look, this is right, this is wrong, you make your own decision, but based on like today's standards, you could put it on the internet. You can call people out. And it's not that you're being an asshole. You're actually calling people out that should be called out.
And sometimes it's not even calling the people out, right? Sometimes it's just calling out the technique or the situation.
Well, I'm sorry, maybe not calling them out.
Because, I mean, sometimes
directly.
I do call out people, right? Sometimes I'll, like, on my YouTube channel, I'll take my sweet time calling people out.
Yeah.
Like, specifically people, right? I'm like, dude, like, there are people out there that are just fucking crazy. Like, this dude, Adam Misner, is, like, one of the biggest cult leaders I've ever seen in my life.
What was his name again?
Adam
what?
Misner.
How do you spell it?
So, this dude, and if anybody wants to look him up, it's Adam, as in anybody could spell Adam, and if
like
you can't,
Adam?
you don't need to. Yeah, and then it's Misner, M-I-Z-N-E-R. And so
go.
this dude, right, he'll sit on a couch, it's the funniest thing, and he'll take his finger and touch somebody's arm, and they will just fly back, or they'll fall to the floor, and like, the dude makes this sound like it's real. He'll speak in fucking circles, and as he talks in circles, his followers will, oh yeah, I understand. It's like, no, you don't understand. No one understands what you just said. You know, no one understands what you said because you just said a whole bunch of bullshit. You know,
Bullshit.
Hey, how's it going, man? Right.
We got Solo Dope that just walked in. So in the beginning of the podcast, you always hear that song running, and it goes, "The KB Experiment." That is Brando. Say what's up.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Everybody says hello, Brando. You know, the 14 fans that I have. But no, and that's what I mean. Look, you're qualified to do what it is that you're doing, right? And you may not see it, but a lot of us see it because of where you come from, how long you've been in the game, and where it's coming from as an ethical standpoint. So I didn't mean you calling people out specifically, calling out a process, calling out something that needs to be addressed because it can be dangerous in this space for someone.
Oh, definitely, man.
You know what I mean? Having like a move that can kill somebody that they're teaching you wrong. I mean, you don't want to kill anybody by mistake.
You know what's even crazier is, like, So the reason I brought that up was because, like, sometimes I'll post something. Like, I posted Anderson Silva before teaching bullshit. And people are like, that's Anderson Silva. Like, he can kill you. I was like, I know he can.
I didn't say
everything that he did, that he's done in his entire career, this dude could fucking kill me. Like, he's going to beat me in a fight every day of the week, right? He is one of the greatest of all time. But that 1 second is bullshit. Like, I mean, we all have our moments, right?
Yeah.
And so to sit there and think that everybody is perfect, that's some culty shit.
Yeah.
Like, no one's like that. Like, we all fuck up. Like,
we're all human.
And so people think that sometimes when I post, like, a clip, they're like, oh, you're making fun of the person.
Yeah.
I don't give two fucks about the person. What I care about is that second clip where they taught something that was just something that could get somebody hurt.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we put a lot of people on pedestals, I think, sometimes when they haven't truly earned it.
Right.
Because of other things that they've done. Like, one dude I posted, they were like, man, this guy's written this every time somebody defended this dude. His books are great. They're like a staple in law enforcement.
Yeah.
We love this dude. And I was like, I'm sure all of that is great. I'm sure all that stuff's good. But that is bullshit.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
That's
like,
it.
the dude could cure fucking cancer for all I care. All right, cool. He
Thank you
cured
for that.
cancer. But that's bullshit, you know? Like,
Thank you for curing cancer, but that's still some bullshit.
You know,
I mean,
like,
it's what
Dave
it is.
Chappelle said it best. Like, think about, like, presidents. How many presidents did we have that were slave owners? You know, thank you for all that, but that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, people can do great things and still be assholes. Like, even, I have this opinion. It's a theory, but I could be wrong, right? I think some of the greatest people on the planet were some of the biggest assholes on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, look at Michael Jackson.
I mean,
right?
look.
How many people did he inspire?
Yeah.
Molested kids, but he inspired a lot of people. Or, like, look at Ray Charles. Ray Charles, like, he set a standard that everybody does now of, like, he owned his own music.
Yeah.
Like, that was huge to just basically say, fuck you, it's mine. And everybody else was like, that's a good idea.
Okay.
I think we should do that too, you know? And, like, that's a huge thing. But he was a heroin addict and a woman abuser. You know, it's like, you can do great things and bad things. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a person. You know? We all fuck up. I fuck up all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, you're on my podcast. That's the worst thing you can do. But what I'm saying is, I don't know what I'm saying. I forgot. We're in the mall. There's people walking around. They're looking at us. Let's finish up with this documentary. Tell me about the documentary and where you're at with it.
Well, so we were in pre-production for 3 years. So it would have been just 2 years of pre-production, but COVID hit. So it was messed up. We were scheduled.
What's COVID? I'm sorry.
What the hell? What is COVID? That's a solid question. Not a question I should be answering. But
sorry, maybe that wasn't funny. I'm such an asshole.
Funny shit.
I'll edit that out.
But yeah, dude. So like, we were originally scheduled to film last April. So we had our funding, storyboarding, pre-production's done. We're ready to film April of last year. Then once we go to start filming, like, COVID hit the month before in March, and then we were like, all right, well, we're stuck. So there's nothing else that we could really do. And so we pushed it back off to August. And then once August hit, a week before, 1 week before we're supposed to film in August.
Oh, yes.
The second lockdown hit in California.
I remember because you were planning to come out here to Houston.
Yeah, I was.
And
all this trip was already supposed to happen like a year ago. And then so I was like, all right, well, we're stuck. And then now we don't know if it'll ever ease up. So we were like, you know what, let's just work around it the best we can. And so we made that decision. So now we're moving forward. And then we basically, the documentary is about fakes, frauds, and phonies in the martial arts industry, and just trying to document and let people know about the issues that there are in the world, and just help people make better decisions before they join a martial arts school, or be better informed about a lot of the misinformation that's out there.
Yeah.
Like, and talk to old cult leaders, people who admitted to running cults, people who ran in cults.
Okay.
You know, and then of course we'll be going to certain martial arts schools and calling them out, be like, does this work? Show us, prove it. You know?
Right. I want somebody to knock me out without touching me.
Shit, I want that too. You think I would do jiu-jitsu if I would never do jiu-jitsu again if I knew I could knock people out with my mind.
I gotta say, man, I love to watch those videos because I know that, all right, does the student believe it or not? A lot of times I think they do. It's all mental, you know, it's subconscious, or maybe they're trying to make the sensei happy. But when you see some of this shit, I'm like, dude, I just, as a human, I can't even act that shit out and be like, okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just me, you know?
I mean, even in regular martial arts, even in martial arts schools that aren't like that far-fetched, people still believe shit that doesn't. Like, you'd be amazed how many people on the planet still think you have to register your hands as deadly weapons when you get a black belt.
Oh, you don't have to?
No.
Oh, shit.
It's fucking bullshit. It's not.
Because I have one. I bought it on eBay. I thought it was worth. Fuck.
Yeah, they used to put them in ads. Like, there used to be ads that would run in, like, magazines, and it was, like, $4. And
sorry, dude, I can't fight you. My hands are legal weapons.
Yeah, that's you ever seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, if I kill you, I go to jail. It's like, no, if anybody kills anybody, they go to jail. That's the fucking law.
Yeah, but I get extra jail because, no, man. That's funny.
Yeah, man.
That's funny.
It's just a lot of misconceptions and bullshit on the planet. And, like, I think the funniest thing is a lot of people who are not in martial arts seem to have a better grip on reality when it comes to, like, actual altercations and real fights. Like, from the outside perspective, than people who were in the cult thinking that they can knock people out with their mind or do some crazy shit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just wild because I don't live in that world, but I can see the whole cult mentality and I can see what, you know, what it can do to somebody mentally. Because I've joined other clubs in the past, and as I realize, you know, humans need to be together. You know, it's a herd mentality. So sometimes when you're in a specific herd, if you will, there's a certain mindset that goes along with it that from the outside you normally wouldn't co-sign. You're like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, it's totally different because now, you know, when you start talking about negative shit like murderers, child rapists, people can't fathom the idea. It's like, how could they even do that? It's like, well, you know, you got to put yourself in a certain mind state to do certain things, right? So you can't understand it because that's not your life. But there are people that do some fucked up shit that to them seems normal because they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, and I think we all are susceptible to being brainwashed anyway.
Yeah.
Like, we get brainwashed all the fucking time. Like, here's an example that's always funny to me, right? So, when you go to the grocery store, you go through the grocery store, and you do everything you need to do at the grocery store, right? And then you go to check out, and right when you go to check out, they have that, like, aisle. Like that little stand. It's got the candies and shit, and sometimes they got sodas, right?
Yeah,
all of that shit, every bit of that was in the store.
But they put it where,
But why didn't you? You didn't pick it up till right now. It wasn't because you forgot it.
You're
It's
bored.
because somebody
like,
smarter than you figured out that they could brainwash you into buying that shit, and they put it right there because you are now hungry and thirsty after you've been walking around this fucking grocery store. So, like, we get manipulated. We think it's our idea to pick that shit up. It wasn't your idea. If it was your idea, you would have done that shit back there where you could have gone down an aisle and picked it up.
Oh, yeah.
For cheaper.
Like, we know they put the candy and cereals at the kids' level so they could get all the kid shit.
Well, even, like, think about sodas, right? They have those, like, individual sodas, right? And they're, like, what, $3 a piece?
Yeah.
Something like that? You could buy a case for $5.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're buying one for $3.
Yeah.
Well, if it was your idea, you would have fucking went over there and bought the case. But it wasn't your idea. So we get manipulated into shit all the fucking time. I mean, here's... I'm not going to go too far into this because I'm fucking tired of it anyway, but here's another better example. Is just look at politics. How many people fucking hate other people and could give two shits less about their opinion?
Right? Over that.
Like, come on. Like, people have the right to say what they want to say. I don't have to fucking agree with you, but look at how many people have disowned family members.
Yes, it's gotten...
Like, like, motherfuckers just stormed the Capitol building. Like, over politics. People were burning cities down. Like,
I don't want to talk about that.
You know what I'm saying? Dangerous. It's just not like... it's just not like... It's
no,
one
I
of those
get
things
you.
where people get manipulated so easy and we get hyped up over shit. And it's like, normally you wouldn't be that way, but you kind of get pushed in a direction you might not have necessarily thought
and you know,
would.
You also got to take in fact, a lot of people, they don't have mind control. They can't control their own mind. They don't know how the mind works. So there's so many people that are manipulated because they don't know the process of manipulation, of subconsciousness. So, you know, how are you going to stand up to a machine that's 24/7 versus, you know, your brain is going to soak it up at some point or another.
Well, if you really want to know how many followers there are in the world, right? The easiest way to do it is stand in a group of your friends and say, "Hey, where do y'all want to eat?"
Where do you want to eat?
Yeah, where you want to eat. What are you going to hear?
Or just stand there and look up.
What are you going to hear? You know what's going to happen? You're going to hear a whole bunch of people go, "I don't know. What do you want to eat? What do you want to eat?" Like they're waiting for the leader. And when the leader arises, then they're like, "Oh, well, we'll do that. That sounds like a good idea.
I'm going to eat cereal." All right, let's go eat.
Yeah, fuck it. We're going to go to that cereal spot.
You know, that's not a bad idea. I bet you.
Dude, there are cereal spots, dude.
I don't travel much. I don't know. Is there really?
Yeah, there's a spot that, like, what they'll do is they'll take cereal, and you know how, like, when the cereal goes in the milk, it changes the flavor of the milk?
Yeah.
So what they do is they strain the cereal over and over and over again through this milk, and they'll take that milk and they'll freeze it and they'll make ice popsicles.
No, I'm talking about fucking cereal, bro. Like you just
like a cereal bar.
Yes, like you're talking about ice cream shop that they use other I'm talking about the cereal store. You
I
go
think
there
you
and
have
be like,
some shit.
yes,
I'd go to a cereal
I would
spot.
like some Cheerios with some honey in it.
Yeah,
and
dude.
milk.
Like, give me some high-end cereals.
No, I'm
Some
just
fucking
regular
Versace
Raisin
cereals.
Bran. You better have a good bathroom because Raisin Bran, there's a lot of fiber in old people shit. I'm just saying. So let's see. Let's plug some people. Who are your number one fans, supporters? Who do you want to speak about that we should all follow?
You.
Oh, me? Yeah, well.
But I think they already follow you because they hear you. So.
17 people, yeah.
Yeah.
22.
Yeah, but that's a strong 17.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Mike Beltran's been really cool. If anybody doesn't know, he's like one of the referees for UFC and Bellator. He looks like a Viking. He's got that big ass beard, but he's been nothing but cool. Like he picked me up from the airport one time in LA, and that dude waited an hour and a half in his car because my flight had a little bit of a delay, and he waited. I was like, dude, I'll get an Uber. He goes, no, dude, I said I'd pick you up. I'll pick you up. And like that dude's a stand-up guy. He's really awesome. Kenny Florian is fucking awesome. Rory McDonald's been nothing but cool. Rogan has been nothing but cool. Like
who's Rogan?
Joe Rogan. He's been
Joe who? You mean Joe Rogan? The Joe? Sorry, I love you, Joe.
He's been nothing but cool. And like the dude doesn't. What's really fucking weird about that guy is that he does nothing but give. And then like when you say like thank you, it's like real nonchalant. Like he doesn't want anything from you.
And you know what? That's one thing about people that I like. Is like a Joe Rogan, right? Yeah. Like me, I'm the same way. Like I don't feel like I'm anyone that's big that has any influence, but I have a huge community that tells me that all the time. Like my DMs, my phone calls, they're like, yo, like you've inspired me, you've helped me, whatever the case may be. But it's like, yo, I'm just some fucking regular dude like you. Like I'm gonna treat you the same respect. So you have someone like Joe Rogan's that's like, yo, like don't listen to me. Really, I'm telling you, I don't know shit about what I'm talking about, right? Like he believes that, but he's so authentic and humble where he'll be like, you're expecting something different. It's like, nah, bro, like just thank you. It's that simple. You're like, man, that's it, and that's being human. Like waiting for someone at the airport for an hour.
Yeah, I mean that's just cool because
like I got friends that won't even do that shit. Like Brando wouldn't wait for me more than 30 minutes.
Don't get me wrong. Like there's definitely assholes in the martial arts community, like the industry, like for sure. But like most of them are real cool people. It's like you would imagine that they would be more assholes out there, but I mean they're just cool, man. Like
it's character, man. It's just
I went
how
to this
people
shit.
are.
It was like the MMA awards and like in Vegas, and when I went, like it was a suit and tie event, like black suit and tie, and I was like, oh fuck, like I didn't know it was going to be like that.
Yeah.
So when I showed up looking like this.
Yeah, the gi
and
on.
so like I walked in and I was at the craps table for like an hour. I'm murdering it, right? I was like, dude, this is awesome. And then I kept seeing people walk by with like suits and ties, and I was like, I wonder where they're going. And then the dude next to me goes, oh, they're going to the MMA awards. It's a suit and tie event. I was like, oh
What?
fuck, I'm going to that.
Like-
so I was like, I'm hot though. I'm like, I don't want to leave the table. I was like, all right.
Well,
fuck
hey,
it.
you could have bought a suit with that money, did you?
Well, I was up 5, so I was happy about that. But like, I didn't buy a suit, but luckily I had one. I always have one when I go anywhere. Like I don't know.
Hey, just for the record, I've never bought like a real suit in my life. I've had suits, but I've never had like a tailor suit. So if like Men's Warehouse or someone wants to sponsor me to give me a suit, I'm all down. I'm just saying.
You're gonna
Just
love
wanted
the way you look.
Throw it out. What?
And not their slogan. You're gonna love the way you look.
Oh yeah. I want to love the way I look.
Just every once in a while, say that shit. They might not sponsor you, but then if you just say it long
Just give
enough,
me this damn suit. I mean, that's it. I just want a suit. But I feel you. And so, who are your sponsors that you want to talk about?
So I have 4 sponsors right now who have been fucking awesome. So Killcliff is one.
I've actually talked to them, to be honest.
Killcliff?
Yeah, I've communicated with them before, and actually through you. So McDojo Life does work in the sense of reach because I've communicated with them and I've bought stuff from them. So
they're awesome,
and that's because of you. So I'm a big supporter of that.
And they're run by the top 3 people in the company were Navy SEALs.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like they all train jiu-jitsu. Like they're big into the martial arts industry. And like they branched off into a lot of other things, but like they really give a shit, which is all I care. Like I've gone up there and worked with them a lot, and they've been nothing but cool with me. So I love that company, and like I like their product. If their product tastes like shit, I would just say it does, but it's really good. So
yeah,
I got like 6 cases of shit in the car. So if you want some when we're done, I'll give you some.
Yeah.
And if you
love
want some
stuff.
too, I'll give you some too. This is like a whole bunch of free
Hey,
shit.
you want some free heroin? Sure.
No, this
free?
It's delicious, dude.
No, I didn't. Well, I mean,
and then Free sleeve is another one. So like, when like you if you're sore or whatever, you like usually put like an ice pack on some shit.
Okay, yeah.
But like then it like the condensation starts to like drip and your leg gets wet.
Yeah.
Right. So what they did was they made like a cold compress. It's a circle, so it's like a sleeve that goes over whatever's hurting you. And so it doesn't like get wet and drip. So that's been pretty cool.
Okay.
It's like a nice anti-inflammatory thing. And then Carolina Custom Foam, they make these custom gun cases, and the dude looks like you.
Like who?
The dude looks just like you. Like the dude who runs Carolina Custom Foam looks just like you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
It might be me, but
you happen to double as his
twin
dude.
brother. My doppelganger, is that what it is?
But dude, he makes these awesome custom gun cases, and so that's been cool. I got one in the car as well, like one of his custom works. And then
I might need to hook that up because I actually need a gun case for one of my firearms. So I love custom, especially when I put the KB brand on it.
Oh yeah, dude. So, and he does great work, so it's cool. I'll show you what he did for me, and then you probably dig it. And then the last one was RDX Sports, which is like a martial arts like gear, just like gloves, shin pads, mouthpieces, shit like that. And they're a newer sponsor, but I really do like their shit. Like they sent me a whole bunch of stuff. So I have some shin pads I haven't been able to use, but I did some backgrounds the other day with their gloves, and I actually really do like their gloves. So that was cool.
Okay.
And then, I can't say anything about, maybe their shin pads are shit. I don't know, but like I'll find out.
Right. But no, that's cool. I mean, I wanted to make sure you spoke about them because I know they're sponsoring what you do. They sponsor your brand. I believe in what you do, and I'm a firm believer in support, especially, with the type of things that you're doing and the exposure you're putting out there. I've always supported that. I mean, I've met you through I heard you through Joe Rogan, and that's where I found you. And ever since then, I've always been a follower. I've always shared. I've had you on the podcast twice. So it's just a blessing that we could do this now face to face because that was originally what we wanted to do. And if I could bring you on my platform as many times as I can to help you out and just connect to both groups of people, my community with your community, then that's perfect
for sure.
But I'll make sure to put all their information in the sponsor in the description, so when everybody goes to the description, you can click on everything, you can go support. You'll be able to get to the McDojo website, the Patreon. So if you want to support the actual documentary and just the whole company as a whole, you'll be able to. And I invite you to that, to do that, because we're all human. We're all like a one-man, two-man company or a small business, and that's the only way we can support each other is by word of mouth and actually supporting, buying the products, sharing the products. I don't like people that will show you all this love but never buy your shit, never like your stuff, never share your stuff. It's like you're not supporting. Like a real support figure would be, tag me in anything, I'm gonna share it. Why? Because I support it. Word of mouth is better than anything else. You know what I mean?
Most of that shit's just a button click.
Button
click. Like
you share a bunch of other garbage that
you can do that taking a shit. Like I was sharing a whole bunch of stuff, and I was taking a shit.
Dropping a huge. So let's show some support. Rob, I appreciate your time. I'm glad that you actually came down. We finally get to meet, and we're in a nice little setting here, and we made it happen. I think you're when do you think documentary will come out? Like
probably about that's complicated. That's distribution, but like when
6
it comes
months.
to like we'll see. Like it all depends on how the editing goes. We'll probably be done and have the movie completely made within 3 to 4 months, and then we make the decision about how we want to go through distribution, which is either we want to go through like the what is it like? Not conventions, but like movie. I don't know why the word is escaping me.
Small film festivals.
Yeah, film festivals.
There you go. Jesus, Lord, Mary and Joseph.
That's what happens when you get hit in the head for a living, kids. It makes
I'm
you
just
pretty
dumb.
too.
I never got hit.
But
in the head.
so
maybe
like
twice. But
we might go through the film festival route, which might wind up being great because there's not a lot of movies being made right now.
Right. You know what?
So
they're gonna consume the shit out of anything that comes out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And then if we're lucky, like we'll see what happens. Like I just had a dude hit me up who wants to do our music, and he's like a 5-time Emmy award-winning composer. Which is fucking awesome. He just randomly hit me up. He was like, "Yo, dude, I like your concept." He goes, "I want to work with you," and I was like, "Well, we're broke." I was like, "If you want to do it for free," and it was like, "Actually, I just really like what you do. I wouldn't mind working."
That's
for
what's
free.
up, man.
I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I was like, "All right."
At least you're honest. You know what I mean? Like, there's dudes that'll let you. They'll do all the work, and they're like, "All right, it's gonna be this much," and you're like, dude, you didn't tell me you were broke. And then what?
I'm up front about my brokenness.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I put all my money into this shit. I was like, my production team alone is astronomical.
Jesus Christ, I can't
like,
even.
you're paying 5 dudes' salaries.
So just to give everybody a visual, I'm sitting in the mall with $10 Amazon microphones into like a splitter into my laptop, and we're literally holding the mics to our mouth, and they're little tiny mics, and I have this shit hooked up to a cell phone holder. So
it works, man.
There's no excuses. You can do it. So I don't want to hear, I don't have the equipment. $10.
If you got a phone, you got a career. That's all there is.
You have hands, and even if you don't, I don't want to, put it that way. You can do whatever you want, no matter what. So, Rob, I appreciate your time.
Thank you
for coming through. We're gonna wrap it up, and we are going to look out for this documentary. So everybody, go follow McDojo Life on Instagram. We're going to get your Facebook back up. I know that it was taken down, but
oh my God,
honestly, we're going to work on that because that's a huge community, and it needs to come back. So there's always a way to get it back. So go follow the journey. I mean, I think you guys will enjoy it. Share it with your friends. Tell everybody, hey, look, we got, especially if you're in the martial arts community. Like I said, the most that we could do is support each other. So, and if anything, just talk shit. Even talking shit is a support, you know? Like,
hey, man, haters pay the bills too.
Fuck it. All right, everybody, enjoy your day. It's King Borris. It's Rob from McDojo Life, and we are out.